Hey guys, this is Edo's Nerdcast Spoilercast. We really need to come up with a better, shorter version of that.
We do. I think our branding guy wants us to change our whole name,
Look,
so, we'll have to think about that.
That may happen in time. But what can we do, Will?
Well, you're about to listen to us talk about Deadpool 2, but if you want to hear us talk about more nerdy stuff other than Deadpool 2 that's kind of still related to Deadpool 2, you can jump on over to SoundCloud and listen to the full audio version of this podcast, even though it's kind of already an audio version.
That's right.
Right, Josh?
There's a lot more jokes, there's a lot more tangents, random just Will and Josh musings as the entire internet has come to know and love.
But let's get into it. Let's talk Deadpool 2. Play the intro title music.
Let's do it. That's not it.
I mean, I'll probably put an actual bit of music there, Joshua.
That's fine. Just use mine.
What did you think of this movie? What did you think?
I loved it. This movie was great. I went in with mid-hopes and came out just absolutely loving it. Just about 10 minutes before we started this saw someone post online saying that this was the best film released this year so far, which is very interesting.
That's a big claim,
considering all the other movies that have come out this year. But
the one that came out like a month ago.
Yeah, kind of the biggest movie of the year.
Yeah.
Whereas this is not. But maybe he was just high.
Maybe it is the best one.
No. I don't know, but maybe he's just like high on hype for that movie.
Yeah.
So
yeah, well, fair enough. It's just like all the people that are excited about that other movie. We're all very much high on hype from that film.
Yes.
Whereas this film, we were like, yeah, okay, make another one if you want. And then they're like, whoa, how about we make the better version of the first film?
Yeah.
Like, how'd you do that though? Because the first film was pretty perfect. No, we're gonna do it again.
Let's just do it again and better and. All of the jokes,
which is not,
and all of the references that I didn't know they would be allowed to make.
That's my thing.
I know. Right?
I thought the end of this film was going to. I thought this film, from I don't know what the first one is. It's probably the Hawkeye one, which is my favorite one.
We'll get to that,
which we'll get to later. I was like, maybe this is the film. This is the way they announced.
That's what I was thinking. I was on the edge of my seat the whole movie, hoping that Robert Downey Jr. would walk in and just be like, "Hey man, do you want to come join the Avengers?" Or just
apparently though, Chris Evans. There's too many Chris's. Chris Evans was originally in the film, or was going to be in the film as Johnny Storm.
What?
he was going to audition for the X-Force, and he'd be like, sure, man. But then they were like, there's too many fun gags within this.
Oh,
and also, maybe that's crossing a line.
That would have been insane.
Yeah. So, and apparently it was like it was a thing that could have happened, but it was the directors that were like, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe that's one joke too weird.
That would freak everyone out. Okay, we had quite a responsive crowd. There were some people in front of us in particular that were kind of annoying about it. But there was a big response when Deadpool is complaining that there is no one else in the giant X-Men house. And then you see through the door, the X-Men walk over. Well, Beast in particular walks over and slowly slides the door shut. There was a massive reaction to that, and I loved that. Despite it being out of continuity, we think.
Yeah, but what that could just be the actors. Like, that could be like the actors meeting about like X-Men Dark Phoenix, and they were like shutting the door to Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Like, I guess it could be a joke about that. Like, because he's like, why can't we afford any more X-Men? So he's treating it like a set.
Yeah.
So I guess that they were rehearsing or something. There's also a banner in the background of that, and I didn't get time to read the banner, but I'm sure it's very funny. I'm sure there's something very funny on the banner, like
interesting,
like Welcome Wade or something.
Yeah, okay.
And they were like,
yeah, I'll check on that next time I see it, because I feel like I'm probably going to see it again this weekend with a friend who was not happy when I told him that this movie was good, and then he said, "You've seen it already?" Yes, because he's the guy I see everything with while I'm down here.
I see. Well, it's fine.
It's fine.
It's very important to see it as soon as possible.
That's true. For this reason. For this podcast
reason.
Yeah,
for this podcast. Which he cannot listen to because he didn't see it as soon as possible.
That's right. Unlucky.
I think what we should get into first is just like an overview, like a tonal overview. How did you find it in comparison to the first film?
Look, I feel like I've only seen the first film once. I think with you probably. When it came out, so it has been a while. I feel like it was still on par. Like the vibe,
the same
the whole
idea,
tone was basically the same. It's the intro still had that sort of the darkness that the first movie had, where like stuff's going wrong and he's like all angry and trying to work out what's happening, because that's basically what happens in the first movie. There's emotion to start with, and then it's just like 100% just jokes and fun for the rest of the film.
With those, and in the same sense, Vanessa is the thing that punctuates the emotional beats of the film.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And like when she's there, she's generally really funny.
I think that this film has the same tone, but I don't know how many. I assume it's like chronologically set the same distance apart from the first film. I assume, I don't know, like a year or two.
Yeah. Okay.
But I feel like it's like tonally, in the weirdest way, tonally matured a little bit in the sense that he's had to live with another person and like not dull himself down, obviously, because he does some like crazy shit before coming home. But like I feel like he's grown up a little bit, and I think that in that sense the film has as well, because there's a lot less boobs, there's a lot less like direct, like just there's a lot less just derogatory humor.
Yeah,
like everything's a bit more clever.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's not the only jokes that are like dumb humor are old mate beardy glasses that has recently got in trouble, but like his mate TJ Miller.
Yeah.
TJ Miller's, all his jokes are still really dry and quite odd, and like because the film around those jokes has matured, his jokes feel more jarring than they did in the first film.
Yeah,
so you're like, oh, okay, we're still doing that.
Yeah, absolutely, because he's he's trying to support a girlfriend/wife now, and
soon a kid.
He's getting paid. Yeah, he's getting paid for his work now. He's actually a mercenary. He's not just kind of killing random people, which I don't think he was doing in the first one. I don't think he was actually like a paid person.
No, yeah. Oh, I mean, he was right at the start, like the pizza dude and everything.
Oh,
he got paid by that girl,
but not as Deadpool.
Yeah, and not taking down like corporations. It's just kind of like hero for hire, like low level sort of help me with this problem.
Yeah,
and now it's like take down bad guys.
Yeah, totally. TJ Miller was still funny. I liked his throwback to the avocado joke in the first one.
Just start doing that joke.
Yeah, he just sort of was like, yeah, he's sort of like an avocado. Yeah, I love that. That was great.
That was very good.
I like that he didn't continue it and just sort of trailed off.
I think we'll get to the plot in a second. That's kind of like overview, but just characters. I feel like every single character, like they don't waste a single second of any character. Like every single every single line of dialogue is great and written perfectly for whoever is saying it. And like even characters that are oft in like the whole X-Force all have great moments and don't feel wasted.
Yeah.
Like it's incredible.
Yeah.
The film,
they introduce them fairly seamlessly, without any like particular need for like a whole lot of backstory and origin and stuff like that. It's just people just sort of turned up. The most amount of introduction we sort of got was Cable. And you sort of needed that, and it wasn't even that much of an introduction. He just sort of it just sort of came up.
He was there.
Yeah, he was.
You were like, okay, it's a dude. He's in the future. Fine.
Yeah, like it.
Let's move on.
It just sort of happened, but yeah, they did that introduction really well, which I feel like is another thing that movies seem to be doing better at now. Is not needing a whole lot of intro for their characters, especially these Marvel films. Like with Infinity War, like they barely introduced anyone.
Yeah, the Black Order just turns up.
Yeah, they're just there, and same thing happens in this one. There's just a whole bunch of new characters, and you get as much information as you need about them. And that's not much information.
And it's the right information as well. Like these are the bits that you need to care about this character, to understand where the film's going. Like the fact that they also just don't delve into the time travel thing. It's like, he can do it. This is important. Remember that thing. Like everything's just so perfect with the Cable is just like perfect.
Yeah.
he is as perfect as Ryan Reynolds being Deadpool. They just found the correct way to do Cable in a film.
Absolutely.
And I just don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, it's the casting is perfection. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And like Domino, she was great. I was very happy with her. I know there will forever be a big thing because she is it's unavoidable, very visually different from the source material, but like it in no way affects the way she's portrayed because it's not like in the comics where she is in the same way like Harley Quinn's bleached. There's no point where she's bleached. She's a person with luck, with a like birthmark on her face. That's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing to do with anything else.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason for her to be bleached white. So why couldn't she look the way she does?
Yeah, basically in the comics she is white with a black spot over her left eye, and in this it's sort of opposite. She's sort of inverted.
Yeah.
So she's a African American woman with fairly light brown skin, but she still has a white spot over her eye, like the sort of white birthmark over her left eye, which it's enough sort of for the character to know that is Domino. And that's
yeah, and she also
looks
calls
like.
herself Domino, which is kind of all you need as well. Like
yeah, for sure.
And has the power of luck, so we're good to go.
Yeah. Oh man, she was great. And the rest of the X-Force.
Yeah, let's go through them. Firstly, Terry Crews. I was a bit sad that because in the trailer there's a lot of specially shot things of them doing stuff.
Yeah.
So I was a bit sad that Terry Crews never got to punch someone because that was very exciting in the trailer, and then not so much in the film.
Yes. So for those listening now, as we go through these, nearly every one of the X-Force dies.
The only ones that stay with us is Domino, and then at the end Peter as well.
Yeah, Peter comes back through time travel.
Peter gets resurrected.
Yes. I'm surprised he only brought back Peter. I thought he was going to bring back all of them, and then they could continue with like another movie in the future. But only Peter just seems.
Well, I thought
really
he was
bizarre.
going to bring back. I thought he was going to bring back Brad Pitt, and then he would get killed again, and he would be like, "Well, I guess it costs too much."
Yeah.
Like there's no way to save Brad Pitt because he costs too much money.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, for the listeners, freaking Brad Pitt was in this movie for about 1 second.
If you didn't notice, because I feel like if Brad Pitt's face isn't as burnt into your mind as a lot of the people, if you just haven't seen much Brad Pitt, you wouldn't. Because it is a fraction of a second.
Yeah.
But it's enough that if you know Brad Pitt, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But it's like it's so quick.
You know how great I am with celebrities and remembering who they are. I saw him.
No.
I saw him and I was like, oh, it's the guy. Who is it? It's Angelina's husband. Angelina, they have a name. Brangelina, Brad Pitt. That's it. But I recognized him instantly, but I'm like, I do not know who the hell that guy is.
The name.
Like what his name is. So he was the Vanisher. So the reason why you don't see him until he dies is because he is literally invisible the whole time. And it's hard to know whether anyone is actually there. Or whether they're just sort of faking it.
So
like
clever.
whether there actually isn't anyone there at all. And it's not until he dies where he gets electrocuted that you see him for that fraction of a second, and then that's it. That's the end of seeing Brad Pitt is just this quick
the cleverest cameo.
It's great.
But moving on to the plot itself, I thought it was very good. I liked that. I was a bit worried at the start because I was worried that we were going to entirely double up on the way Deadpool 1 was like intro, other bit, intro, other. Like I was worried we were going to be doing a lot of time skipping, but it's just like it was just more a fun, quick jab, and then a backwards, and then we just went chronological, which was good.
Yeah.
I was very happy with that. I was worried we were going to backtrack too much, and I was like, it worked as a intro. We don't need to see. Just start where you want to start.
Yeah. No, I think they did that pretty well. But do you want to explain the plot overall?
Look, humble listeners, I just want to brace your ears. This dipshit is about to frantically try and remember the film. He'll say it in an order that would make even Zack Snyder cringe. Sit tight. It's a fucked up ride. Yeah, so basically it's Terminator 2. And they don't shy away from the fact it's basically Terminator 2. But
yeah, good point.
So yeah, basically someone kills someone in the future, and then that someone's father, basically, Hunt for the Wilder People kills Thanos' wife and child. And Thanos is like, I've got to go back in time and kill him when he was actually auditioning for the role of Hunt for the Wilder People, not when he looked like the guy off Play School. So he went back in time and did that. And there's Deadpool, and Deadpool is about to help Wilder People because Wilder People is starting to understand his powers and knows the damage that he can cause. And so trainee Deadpool goes to try and stop the kid. There's another bit at the start, which we'll get to in a sec. That's not really the plot. That bit kind of happens and then we just move on.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to that bit. You see what I mean? Vanessa dies at the start of the film, just as she's telling him that she wants to have a child.
Yes.
Which basically just sends Deadpool into a very rapid spiral of depression.
Yes.
Which is absolutely fair, because Deadpool has never loved anything in his life, and finally he does, and then that gets taken from him. But of course, Deadpool can't die. And they play with the idea of Deadpool not being able to die by pushing him into this weird dimension where he can choose, but he has to be able to choose when it's finally his time to die. And it's the coolest thing I've seen in a very long time.
It is.
And it was so shocking. Like, it's something that maybe it's teased, or maybe it's... I just feel like it's never been a thing in the comics, but it 100% adds so much to Deadpool's lore of the idea that he can die, but he just chooses not to. Like, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. And most of the
yes,
time...
he moves his... Yeah.
Most of the time when he is... most of the time he wants to die, but she's the one that stops him. She physically seems to be putting up a barrier to stop him because she knows that he can't die yet. But the way he keeps nearly dying is he keeps ending up with this this power suppressor on his neck that essentially allows him to nearly die.
So, flash forward, staying on with that, when Deadpool fails to stop Wilder People, and Wilder People tells him that the foster home that he stays in is full of pedophiles, as some of them unfortunately are. Deadpool shoots one of the workers of the foster home, so he gets in trouble. Okay, lovely listeners, I'm just going to speed up this section because it kind of goes on, and you're only here to hear analysis and actual interesting stuff, so I'm just going to fast forward this guy. It drags on so long. They successfully... They don't successfully get the kid out, because it turns out the big bastard of the prisoner that was being kept under wraps, which I was praying with my... If I could cross my penis, I would have been crossing it. I was praying that it was Wolverine, but of course it wasn't. Gross. Isn't there a line in Deadpool that's like, I'm going to bend something that shouldn't be bent?
Yes, there is.
I assume that was the dick. But yeah, I was praying it was Wolverine, but then I heard like an Irish kind of voice, and I was like, oh, it's the dude, it's the Juggernaut, and it was. Which
was also very great, because I think he has a lot of sort of run-ins with Deadpool in the comics, I feel.
So yeah, Wilder People breaks him out because they kind of had a little bond in the jail, so they're mates, and they're gonna go and destroy the
orphanage,
foster home. But yeah, so Juggernaut and him go off to try and do that, and then Deadpool is because he gets pulled in half by Juggernaut. He's chilling with his baby legs. Like we're gonna get into these brilliant scenes in a second. And then Cable comes in and sees his baby legs and his normal sized penis, which is very odd. But it's like a very odd scene. And then, they come to an understanding. Cable's like, I'm going to help you, but I'm only giving you 30 seconds. Otherwise, I'm just going to kill the kid. And so they go off. They redo the X gonna give it to you slow-mo walk, which was probably one of my least favorite jokes in the film. Because it felt like that. It felt like, let's do it again.
Bit of a rehash,
and I was like,
yeah.
And then they go in, and stuff happens. And then by the end of it, Wilder People's there. Cable's basically you can't do it, it's not going to work. Deadpool jumps in front of the kid as he sees Cable's about to shoot him. Deadpool dies and goes into the spirit world, and then Vanessa's like, mate, this is all great, but it's not your time to die still. You've had your moment, but you're going back into life. And then Cable's back in time, puts the coin. Look, there's a lot that happens in this film. Basically, it's very good. It's very good. I don't know how much of the plot I need to explain. You saw the movie. You're watching this. Yeah, it was very, very clever. The time travel was less of an importance than I worry it will be in Avengers 4. They handle time travel perfectly with that idea that Cable sees that happen, and he doesn't he doesn't go back in time and do something impossible. All he does is put a coin under where Deadpool is, and he just remembers where he shoots. Like, it is the most simple twist to solve a plot, and it's just they nailed every aspect of what this film was trying to do.
Yeah, like the fact, like, in other movies, time travel is there's always plot holes everywhere. Like, it must be so hard to write a good time traveling thing, which is why Doctor Who often has those flaws, but it's quite amazing what they seem to achieve with, like, episode after episode of time traveling things. But this one, yeah, like you said, it's such a simple solution. Everything essentially works out exactly how it did the first time. Everything happens exactly the same, other than just a single coin. That's it. So good. And
it's also very clever. It's very clever.
Good job all round. They've nailed it again.
Yeah. So I pretty much only have like 3 favorite bits. The least favorite bits, sorry. I've got a fuck ton of favorite bits. So my least favorite like Marvel Disney line was the Winter Soldier one. Like, it was the most forced. Like, you know, like, there's no reason to go get the guy with the Winter Soldier on. Like, it just didn't feel as clever as all the other ones.
Yeah, that one it's sort of the most obvious connection.
My second one was the slow-mo walk. It just felt like it didn't feel as clever a reference to the first film as like the avocado line. It was direct. Like, he even turns to the camera and he's like, play the music. It's like, we've done this. And then my third least favorite thing was the second round of being impaled in the head and having a soft song and like stroking Colossus and stuff. It was like,
that stroking went for a really long time too.
Yeah, far too long.
Yeah, it seemed very unnecessarily long.
And like, the first film had the cool little animations that came up as well.
I was half expecting that to happen again.
Yeah, like, that was fun. It was unique, but like, this one was just like a slow song with some slow motion with like just dumb, crude jokes. And it was like, but that's it.
Yeah.
Everything else was amazing.
Yeah.
What's your first amazing bit?
My first amazing bit. I know there wasn't all that many, but the amount of DC jokes that somehow they got away with was just bizarre. Like, so there's one, I think it was in the trailer, where he's like, man, you're so dark. Are you sure you're not part of the DC universe? That was great.
Yeah.
And the one where Cable asks Deadpool, who are you? And he goes, I'm Batman.
Yeah, that was
like,
great.
How do you get away with that stuff? Like, the Marvel references, sort of fair enough that you can get away with those, but the fact that you can do DC references, I don't know how that's okay.
All the DC line. Yeah, it was incredible. It was incredible how much I was saying to Zara, I feel like this film gets rid of the crude jokes and replaces the crude jokes with references, because this film's like core humor base is just references to mostly Marvel things, which is really cool, but just like everything's a reference in this film, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty sure there was a lot that I totally missed, being not a huge movie buff, as we actually discussed earlier today. Like you said, the Marvel references, it's not just MCU Marvel references, which is so cool. They're actually... I like that. Do you want to talk about it, or shall I, or what?
The legs?
Yeah. Jim Liefeld. When they're talking about a literal like artist for Marvel back in the day.
And it was the best because he's like, man, who came up with these powers in the 90s? Maybe they couldn't even like draw, like, I bet they couldn't even draw legs or whatever it is. And it was like, really? Did he just? Oh.
Yeah.
Because Rob Liefeld, in almost every single friggin' comic, I've read a few of them, it's just either the legs look terrible, or he just, like, you go comics by comic, and everything's a mid-shot because he just can't be bothered to draw the legs. So you're always so close on the action because he just couldn't draw legs.
Yeah, it's bizarre. So please do yourself a massive favor and have a laugh. Please go and Google Rob Liefeld Captain America. It is like the worst Captain America panel ever. It's so bizarre. I don't know how anyone could even like draw that and be happy with
signed
it
off on that?
To print that.
I think just staying with great references we enjoyed. I'm just going to rattle through the Marvel ones that I've written down.
Go for
I'm
it.
sure there's I'm sure there's even more. Marvel being the MCU. My favorite one, which is the right now I'm just a dude with cancer. Give me a bow and arrow, I'm practically Hawkeye. That was like, I was jumping in my seat.
Yeah.
There was more Hawkeye in this film than in Avengers Infinity War.
Yeah, and I think that was the first like explicit Marvel reference in this film as well.
So it was such a big punch. Like, it was just directly Hawkeye. I was like, oh wow.
Just like, yep, they're going there.
And then within that same inside the jail, there's a bit with the Winter Soldier arm, which that one was a bit gross. Yeah. When the Juggernaut bitch comes out and he's on top of the head and he goes like, the sun's getting real low, little big guy.
Yeah,
like that was
great.
I need to know if that's a real thing, because like, did Marvel make up this thing that is now forever going to be how to calm people down?
Yeah. We should definitely check into that. I'll look it up. You continue if you have more references.
Yep. The one that we were waiting for the most, which in the trailer they cut differently. Because in the trailer, well, in the film, it's like, go easy on the hate break. And he's talking about Teenage Sonic Warhead, terrible, what the shit. He's talking about her in the film, but in the trailers we get, go easy on the hate breaks, Thanos. Which... in the film, the word Thanos is coming from a different line, which when he's talking to Cable right at the end, he goes, "Sip it, Thanos."
Yeah.
Which was very good. It was so much quicker than the go easy on the hate break Thanos. So it was so much more like, oh, he said the word Thanos.
Yeah, I was so stoked with that. And for those listening who don't know why that's exciting, Josh Brolin, who plays Cable, is also Thanos in Infinity War. Mm-hmm. So it was just they playing the same character. So it was sort of one of those lines that you're like, it has to happen. If they've mentioned Hawkeye, they have to bring up the fact that Cable is Thanos.
And I like that in his introductory scene, standing over there's like purple lights everywhere casting on his face. So the first thing you see of Josh Brolin is like a purple face.
I didn't pick up on that, but a lot of his sort of, just his talking, a lot of his very dark lines where particularly when he's not being shown as well, like it's just sort of a voiceover. It's just so Thanos. It just sounds like Thanos. It's amazing. Yeah. Just looking that up, I can't see anything about the sun's getting real low from anything other than Marvel stuff. I just looked up the sun's getting real low origin, and it's just Marvel references the whole time.
That's very interesting. That's very interesting. I like that.
Yeah, good one, Marvel. Once again, a lot. Kicking goals.
The take
everywhere.
It's like the Snap. I was talking to one of my other mates about the Snap. Like, Marvel now owns clicking your fingers. Like, that whenever someone clicks their fingers now, people will be like, haha, Thanos. It's like, no, but I'm just going, Eureka. I thought of something. Marvel has ruined snapping fingers.
Oh, man.
And I think the final MCU reference in the film is just after. Is it Bontu? Is that his? I feel like that's someone else. I think that's the one he kills, because I think Bontu is I think that's the one that he kills in the first film. That's his brother-in-law or whatever.
Yes. Upinda?
Yeah, Dopinder. That's it.
Yeah.
It's just after he's killed. He's killed the pedophile, which is very funny. He's just driven over him, and then he gets out, and then like Deadpool's like, hey, "Nice going, Brown Panther," and I was like, "Oh wow, are we even allowed to do that?"
Yeah. Oh man. Can I also say one joke, which is just it's a good reference back to the first one, the first movie, when Deadpool sees Juggernaut for the first time, and he goes, "Oh man, if I knew you were gonna be here, I would have worn my white pants."
Yeah,
it's so gross. It's such a good reference back to the brown pants joke in
that was very
the
funny.
First movie.
Another reference back to the first one, which I didn't get. Zara noticed. I don't know if you may have noticed. I'm just too busy looking at the things around the references most of the time, probably. I think when Deadpool opens the floor to get some cocaine near the start of the film, where he like splashes it in his face, where the cocaine's sitting, there's a little sign that says "The Cure for Blindness." And in the first film, he says the cocaine's right next to the cure for blindness. Good luck.
Right.
So it really was next to the cure for blindness.
Cool, because I saw that, but I saw the cure for, and I was like, damn it, what was that? Like,
what? The cure for blindness.
That's amazing.
Very clever. And the coolest thing in the film, which I have spoken to 5 people, and all 5 people have not noticed, and I don't think anyone will notice this thing.
No, because this is a thing that Will notices and no one else notices.
No one else
This
notices
is
because
one of
I
those
listen to every soundtrack back to back as soon as the film has finished.
This is very true.
Like,
This is all
I get into a car or a train and I'm listening to
It's all I see you listen to on Spotify is just soundtracks to movies.
That's all I've got. So, in Deadpool's death scene, and like I wish I was filmed in the cinema because I was in gold class. I was leaned back very far in the seat, and when this thing started, for the entire until it ended, I was sitting up, clapping my hands silently. It was the like I had no control over what I was doing. Something was taking over. But when Deadpool is deciding this is it, this is my death. The music that plays under that entire scene every time he whenever he's laying there is what's it called? It's Logan's death score in Logan. It's Don't Be What They Made You. And
of course you know the title of the track.
Yeah. It's the best, and it's because it's such a beautiful moment in Logan when that, and it's because it's such a melancholic score. So, like when it started playing, I was crying a little bit because I was like, I don't know how serious they're gonna take this because his first death is serious. Like it's not a joke. You're like, oh god, he's actually dead now. So hearing that score with that was odd because it kind of felt like a TV show when they reuse music. And it's like, oh, I just couldn't be bothered to we couldn't be bothered to make a new score for Matt Smith's Regeneration. We'll just use a few bits and pieces from his series.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's odd. But then when the score finished and then it started again about 4 times, it was like, okay, they're having fun. This is the greatest thing in cinema because they're playing with their own music, and that is the funniest thing in this film for me.
Yes, and that was something that no one else thought when they saw this film.
No one. But listen to Don't Be What They Made You, or whatever the score called it from Logan. Listen to that before you go see the film next, and I guarantee you will laugh, or even watch Logan before you see it again. You will laugh because I feel actually it might ruin the tone of Logan for me going forward if I watch Logan again.
That's so true. He's totally just ruined Logan.
Yeah, I mean, he ruined Logan from the first line where he's like, I'm going to die too in this one too, Wolvie, or whatever the line is.
It's so good.
Which is very funny. But moving on, do you have a favourite scene in the film? Unless it's the baby leg scene, because that could be the best scene in the film.
Look, I feel like the thing that stood out to me the most, and that I just loved, was the mid-credits scene.
Oh, God, yeah.
It was just so great. Well, the mid-credits scenes. So, yeah, these scenes, again, continuing on with the spoilers, is... So, the first one's like, it's fine. He goes back and he rescues Peter. I think that's the first one he does, isn't it?
No, I think Vanessa is first.
Oh, that's right.
Vanessa, yes. It's like he's gonna do something bad, and then it cuts to black, and then it's Vanessa.
I totally forgot that he brought Vanessa back to life.
I know, right?
So yeah, there you go. So he brought Vanessa back. He saves Peter, and then he goes and kills the original Deadpool from Wolverine Origins, which is amazing. And they cut the footage together pretty damn well. Like it was pretty obvious. So you totally see Hugh Jackman, but it's just taken directly from the movie. It's not like a reshoot
or
with
anything.
Hugh Jackman now or anything like that.
Which makes it even better.
Yeah,
because it's like
awesome.
It's like you've just put the DVD in.
Yeah, and it's just done so well. So that was great. And then the final bit is Ryan Reynolds sitting at a desk saying, yep, like, here we go, this is it, and then holds up Green Lantern, and then you hear a gunshot and just blood all over the script for Green Lantern, and he's essentially killed himself, and that is just amazing. It's done so well. Another good point where it's referencing, well, not referencing, but it's just totally Ryan Reynolds.
Like poking fun? Yeah.
Is when Deadpool is inside the orphanage for the first time, and he meets that kid, and he ends up signing a box of cereal with Wolverine on it, but signing it Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds.
It's so good.
Like, I think it's truly magnificent how much fun they have with these films, and how, like, the fact it comes out of Fox that have made so many terrible X-Men and just terrible Marvel films.
Yeah.
The fact it comes out of them, and they just let him do what he wants.
Yeah.
It's so it's incredible.
It's nuts. Like, they're still yet to make a good Fantastic Four movie at all.
They've nailed two great Deadpool films.
It's so good.
But the question is, where do they go from this film? Where do you think they can go?
Yeah, I'm wondering now that we have seen the X-Men in this universe, whether he'll pop up in Dark Phoenix just for a little bit.
Whether that was the connecting thread. It was like, okay,
yeah, I wonder whether that meeting is going to happen the other direction.
That would be funny.
Imagine that. Like, they close it on Deadpool complaining.
You hear him come up the corridor.
Yeah, how good would that be? Just for like a fraction
funny.
of that movie, and then you never see him again.
Like James McAvoy is like, where's my chair? Has anyone seen my chair?
Yes.
And then, like, you hear this.
Yeah, totally. That would be great.
Yeah, that'd be very.
I would very much
funny.
like to see that. But yeah, because all the other X-Force, I feel like a lot of people are expecting just X-Force movies. From now.
Deadpool 3 would be X-Force.
Yeah, but now most of them are dead. So I don't know.
And I feel like Peter will be a one-off gag as well. Like, I don't feel like he'd be back.
Yeah, because he ended up saying, "Go home. This is too dangerous."
Yeah.
So Peter's gone, but at least he's still alive, which is nice. That was a nice thing he did for Peter. Because he did say, actually, thinking about that now, he did say, "I'm not going to let anything happen to you, Peter. I won't let any harm come to you." And then he comes back.
Maybe Deadpool 3 is like a protection film.
Yeah. That'd be amazing. I don't know, because I wasn't expecting all of X-Force to die.
No, I wasn't expecting this film.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think? What do you reckon? What do you reckon will happen with Deadpool from now?
I don't know what they will do with it, but the fact that they have time travel now, and that it does play heavily into, like, Cable as a thing, has always he's a time traveler. It's one of his his core abilities. So whether the next film is like a time travel heavy thing, but at the same time, I'm like, they deliberately steered away from time travel in this film, so I don't know if they'd want to try and do it. Like, I just don't know, but I feel like it'll be Cable and Deadpool as it is in the comics, so I'd be excited to see what they do with that.
Yes.
Maybe we should read some Deadpool comics, and maybe we might know.
Yeah. I'd like to go back and read the earlier ones, because I read some of the later ones from, like, 2013. But yeah, I'd love to get a bit more of a origin, which you can get from non-sponsor Marvel Unlimited, which are currently...
We will always sponsor Marvel Unlimited.
Oh my.
We even sponsored it in our Westworld podcast.
I think we did, yeah.
Yeah. And,
please keep that in. That was amazing.
All of this is still
good.
So my question to round this out. To round this out, sure. Let's make sure this mountain is nicely curved.
Good.
How would Deadpool? Every time I'm going to ask you it. Hang on, ready? Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready for this question. I've been waiting for years. It feels.
Brace your eardrums and your larynx. Here we go.
Brace my eardrums.
How would Deadpool fit in the MCU?
Oh man. I have no idea. Because, alright, I feel like he doesn't come up all that often in other people's comic books. Unless it's like Spider-Man and it's a joke.
Yeah, he's barely ever featured in the big events.
Yeah.
Like Infinity War.
He wasn't in Infinity War at all,
No.
from what I could tell. But then again, neither was any of the X-Men. And he's more part of that universe.
Yeah. It was at the time where we were like, aren't Inhumans great? You should all like Inhumans now.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Don't worry about X-Men. They're basically Inhumans, but there's like more of them. But look at the Inhumans. Isn't that great?
Look at all them.
Look, the Fantastic Four are basically mutants. Don't worry about them. Just look at Inhumans. Oh, they're all gone. That was Marvel at the time of Infinity. So
pretty much.
That's probably why that he's not there.
Yeah.
But yeah, generally he stays in his own arc unless it's like a joke team up.
Yeah. I would expect him to just pop up maybe in Spider-Man movies, because Spider-Man and him, well, it's joked about a lot that they look the same.
They look the same. Yeah.
And so people get them mixed up. People get Deadpool mixed up with Spider-Man. They always call him Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I think there was a 2 or 3-year-old that looked at a Spider-Man and called it Deadpool, maybe at Free Comic Book Day or something, because this kid was dressed as Spider-Man, and the dad was like, "What are you talking about? I've raised you terribly. Like, you're Spider-Man. You should know which one's a freaking Spider-Man and whatever."
What a rubbish kid.
Anyway,
well, the polar opposite. We'll get back to talking about Deadpool in the MCU in like a minute.
Sure.
But at my Free Comic Book Day, there was a small girl that was racing around Cal Stars Comics at Newtown. If you want to hit up them, we're not sponsored by them, but we're mates. So, but she was running around. She was like, "Dad," like this kid was at least like about 6, and she was like, Dad, where's the Poison Ivy one? I can't find where the Birds of Prey are." Like she was just rattling off all these comic book series, and I was like, I am at a loss. She was like, my favorite one. She was like, "Dad, look, there's a 66 Batman with a crossover with Green Lantern, with Green Hornet." And I was like, what the... I was very confused by this child.
That dad is doing well. He's doing a good job with his child.
I assume that dad is me.
Absolutely.
But so my thing with Deadpool in the MCU,
yes.
I wonder if what they would do, and this is not a sideline, it's very much related. I think the way they did Stan Lee just on a billboard, like, I feel like that's how we're going to be getting Stan Lee cameos very, very soon. Mm-hmm. So if we're doing that, and if the Fox deal goes through, possibly Deadpool takes that place of a visual gag, and he is just somewhere in the film doing something. And that can be far more subtle than Stan Lee, because then it's, the Stan Lee is the one that still is a bit obvious to see, and Deadpool becomes the secondary thing, where it's like something's happening, and way out of focus in the background there's Deadpool doing something, and that's how you keep him connected to the films.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure Ryan Reynolds would happily just do that for like a 2-second cameo.
He wears the suit every day.
Yeah, it's his normal clothing. I feel like dressing dressing in jeans and a t-shirt is him dressing up.
He wears the Deadpool suit underneath other clothes.
Yeah, absolutely. He's basically Superman, but he just wants to kill people.
Yeah, with a gun. But as opposed to his hands and a neck. Usually, Superman kills people with necks.
With his hand and his necks.
And a neck, and another neck. The alternate thing is that there becomes, and I don't want it to be, because the great thing about Marvel films is you never know how many post-credit scenes and stuff there will be. Like, you could have 7 in Guardians of the Galaxy, miscounted, it's like 5. Or you could have 1 in Infinity War. I like that it's very sporadic like that.
Yeah.
But possibly there becomes a standardized Deadpool post-credit scene where he's doing something that with the action directly behind him. Like they find a fun gag to do where Deadpool was involved in that action scene that you just watched, but you just didn't see him. Like maybe something like that is the way that you can... Yeah,
that would be pretty...
Keep him always there.
That would be cool. It'd be like almost like those videos where it's like, how many times does... Like there's 2 basketball teams. There's a team wearing black jerseys.
Yeah, the gorilla.
Yeah, wearing white jerseys, and they're passing the ball. It's like, how many times does the white team pass the ball? And it's like, if you said 5, you're correct, but I bet you didn't see the gorilla walk through. And it's just this gorilla dancing through the middle of the shot. It would be almost something like that. Your eyes just drawn to something completely different. And then you realize Deadpool was actually in it, and then you go back and see the movie and specifically look out for Deadpool, and he was there the whole time. That would be so cool.
That'd be so much fun.
But it would be something that you would probably notice no matter what anyway.
The first time.
So that's
me.
That whole idea would be totally lost on you.
There's no structure to this. We've just talked to you about Deadpool, but we want you to talk back to us about Deadpool. So, if you're on YouTube, make sure you comment down below. If you've been on SoundCloud, make sure you comment down below as well. But you can also comment whilst the sound's going, which is I really like that feature.
Yeah.
I like that other listeners can then read comments that you thought of. It's very cool. So maybe, if you hadn't done that, watch again, or maybe listen again with a friend.
Yeah, bring friends. Tell friends to come check out our stuff on here on YouTube every week, and hopefully more often than we have in the last month. Mm-hmm. We still need to do the Melbourne trip.
We do. I'm gonna get some awesome Melbourne footage off Sarah tomorrow, so we will have that up this next week.
Yes, this next week.
Or whenever you're watching this right now.
This following week.
This next week is very indescript. Also, this podcast, you could be listening to it at any point, so I'm not incorrect by saying next week.
Yes.
Because it could be any next week.
So it could be at any point in time. So for all of our 1987 listeners,
yep, it'll be out next week.
Enjoy My Chemical Romance when it comes around in about 13 years.
Your kids are going to love it.
Good.
But yes, thanks for listening to this. The next one we do may be solo, but we might not do solo, because solo isn't quite I feel like, well, it might be. Who knows? Solo might be as mind-bogglingly referential. Who knows? But maybe solo, maybe something in the future. Probably Ant-Man and the Wasp. It'll definitely have a sneaky vodcast, podcast, post Ant-Man and the Wasp. But until the next one, Joshua is going to tell us if it is 13 years.
It was 14. I was so damn close. 2001.
He was very close.
Oh, man.
Very close. But good yes, times. Until the next one, the Doctor of Who out.
Sheep out. Goodbye, everybody. Love ya.
Goodbye, everybody.
Yeah,